All right. Well, hey, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's Sunday night. I know earlier this week we did ours on Monday with Billy Holderby. So, man, this is like Oklahoma week. We've got another rock star out of Oklahoma. So, for those of you that don't know Lindy and don't know our story, I was thinking about this, Lindy, when I was going to introduce you. You probably haven't heard me say this in a long time, but so Lindy joined Lavelle about 2 months before I did. So I didn't really know her. I never got a chance to get to know her. But we met in Vegas the following year, March of 2015. And I believe, Lindy, right? That's the month you went to 200K for the first time, March 2015.
It was March 2015. Were we in Vegas? Is that
Well, we were in Vegas earlier that month.
where?
That
Oh,
was
okay.
like when they all, I'm going to date us. This is when they announced Rest and Move at that, the first gel technology was introduced at that trip. But so later that month, Lindy hits 200K and she gets this shout out about how she is the first 200K like in the state of Oklahoma. Right? Is that right?
Right.
And that was so inspiring to me. Like, I didn't even really know her. We just literally met. We were not friends. I would not have said we were friends from this Vegas trip. We just we just met at this trip. And so I see this post. It inspires me so much because at that time, there's not a 200K in the Houston area. And here I am, like, looking at this girl, Lindy Davis. She's the first 200K in, like, the entire state of Oklahoma. And it inspired me so much to want to be the first 200K in Houston because, let's be honest, the population of Houston is probably like Oklahoma, Colorado, like several. So I felt like it was like same level. You know, like if she could be the first in the whole state, I felt like if I was the first one in Houston, like that like could be comparative. And so y'all, like I credit Lindy to wanting to go after that goal. And I'll tell y'all, we were the first 200K in the Houston area. A year later, March 2016. So I really do feel like I owe her so much of like what happened to my business. She was a huge inspiration to me and how I've continued to go. And now she's one of my best friends. We've gotten to know each other so well over the last 4 years. And so we do a lot. We do a lot of just leadership stuff. We go back and forth. We spend a lot of time, you know, hey, well, what's working for your team? What's working for your team? And her and we have joined this challenge group that's going to kick off here in the next, I'm like, what's today? It's 7th. It's going to kick off next week.
It kicks off on Wednesday
The 10th.
on my birthday.
Our anniversary, another way.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yes, it kicks off Wednesday, but they've been doing these preparation trainings. And the one that happened this week, Lindy and I, it both really kind of hit us in the face. And so I asked her, I was like, come share with the team, you know, your thoughts on this. And so I just want you guys to hear where she was when she got introduced to network marketing. Y'all, she's like the ideal person. She like wasn't a skeptic. She like goes VIP 800, like just super awesome. Like didn't ask any questions, was just like, sure, I'll try anything. Like she's like the person you want to find. So Lindy, share your story for those of, you know, for the people that don't know how you even got introduced to this, what made you catch the vision of it, and then we'll just dive right into that one area. I kind of described this as there's one area that is so easy to get stuck in that you think is building your business and it's actually not building your business, and that is what Lindy is going to address tonight. So you take it away, friend.
Yeah, I told my team, like, if I know so many people are looking for the magic formula, and if there ever was one, this is it. Right? So yeah, Amber, thanks so much for that introduction. And Amber's right. We do life together now. This opportunity was I don't know at what point we started doing this together, but there was just, I don't know when it was. You may know, but there was just a shift. We just locked arms.
I feel like it was Cancun, because we met in Vegas, and then Cancun is like when that summer it just like it was on. I don't know.
Yeah. So we just locked arms in Cancun, And we've done this together ever since. And it's just been super fun. One of the biggest blessings of this opportunity has definitely been my friendship with Amber and so many others. Yeah, so in January of 2014, I was just a tired, exhausted mama and a second grade teacher. I had a 2- and a 5-year-old, and I am just the most optimistic person you'll meet, and I will try anything. Anybody post something or share something that they're doing, I'm like, ooh, I want to try, I'll do it too. And I just don't ask questions. I don't know if it's legal. I'm just teasing, but I really will say, like, okay, yeah, sign me up. So in 2013, Baxter's turned 2 in 2014. So no, he turned 3 in 2014. So we were just tired. Had a toddler, had a kindergartner, and I was teaching full time. And Garrett was a high school principal and athletic director, so his schedule's super busy. And if he was at home, he was in his recliner. And I'm just trying to do everything I can to get the kids in bed as early as possible so I can go to bed, right? And I'd get 12 hours of sleep and wake up still tired and hitting the snooze button. And so in 2013, I think I tried like products from 4 other companies because I'll just say yes. But it was also in my pantry. None of it worked for me. None of it made a difference, a big enough difference that I actually continued, right? So during that time period, about 1.5 years before, I had met Jen to buy something from her because she knew some people that I knew. They connected me with her. We became Facebook friends. I met her one time in person, and that was like 1.5 years before she ever started thriving. But we were friends on Facebook, so you never know where those Facebook connections are going to come in handy, right? So we never even sent a message to each other, liked each other's stuff on Facebook. But when she started thriving, I could tell the difference, and even just the way she was posting. And so that was in January of 2014. By the 14th, I reached out to her. I asked her what she was doing. I told her I wanted more information. I was a model prospect. She sent me her website because it was during the day. She was at work. I was at work. She told me to create a free account. I did it. I said, Amber's taking pictures. I'm smiling. I said, what's next? She said, go like this fan page. I said, okay, I did that. I read some of the stories. That's cool. Now what? She said, listen to this recording. So I called in and I listened to the 24-hour recorded call. Then I was like, what's next? She goes, well, I'm at work. You're at work. What time this evening can we talk? And she got me on a 3-way call with Maria. I remember walking around the grocery store, listening to Maria's story and her passion and her excitement. And at that point, she had just hit 200K, after like 90 days in the business. And I was like, well, how was I going to say no to that? And I wasn't looking for a business opportunity, but when there was no risk involved, I was like, sure, I'll buy a $400 promoter pack. And yeah, then I told Garrett we were trying this stuff. So, but even though I wasn't thinking about the business, Jen didn't present me to Maria like that. She just she's interested in learning more about Thrive. And they just shared the whole thing, full spectrum. This is what the product's done. This is what the business has done for me in a short period of time. And it got my wheels turning because I thought, all right, what if this stuff really does work? And so it did plant the seed, even though I wasn't really thinking that initially. So it took me 10 days to get my product in. I was a day 1 thriver. Garrett was more like a day 6 thriver. But since I was feeling it, I decided with 3 days left in my VIP time that I was going to go VIP 800. And so I made that happen in 3 days, because it can happen in a short period of time if you get really intentional about it. And then all of a sudden I had some people that loved their Thrive. And so long story short, I just continued to share, earn that auto bonus in my second full month. And then it just continued to grow. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't ask a lot of questions. I just did what Jen and Maria told me to do. And when they said you'll get 100 free accounts, I did it. And every time they put a challenge out there like that, I started, as my business grew, so did my vision, right? Have you heard that? And I stayed connected and listened to those, the Thrive Experience calls, Lavelle Live on Tuesdays. We only had it once a week back then. We didn't have near as much stuff to plug into as we do now, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about tonight. So after 14 months, hit 200K, and it's just been the biggest blessing for our family and just our relationships and being a mom, and it's just been awesome. And so I love being on this journey and, being a part of this company. I mean, there is no better company out there. And so it's awesome to have attached my name to Lavelle Solid Leadership, products that work, and just continue to expand all the time. So what Amber wanted me to share, I've actually shared with my team already, because I think that it is one of the things that we get all wrong, especially in this day and age when there's so much information and there's so many things to connect to. And, we are all so busy that we may be limited in the amount of time we can spend with our business, right? And so if we're limited in the amount of time we can spend with our business, then we have to be intentional about that time. And sometimes we're working really hard on the wrong things, but we feel good, right? Because it's something on our list. It's something on our list of activities, our income producing activities. But it may not be the right thing to be focusing on at that time. So I'm just going to share my screen. I did not come up with any of this myself, okay? I stole this graphic from the trainer. I'm just sharing what I'm learning with you guys. And, I know Amber invited y'all to participate in this challenge with us. We are always trying to learn and grow and bring stuff back to you that we're learning. And so this is just one of those things that this is the pre-training, not even the 10-day challenge, and has so much value. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys, and we're just going to get right into it. Okay. Can you see it? Okay. So income producing activities, guys, what are those, right? We always have a list, right? You're prospecting, your work, you're doing personal development, you're doing follow-ups, right? We all have a list of things that we feel like are important. But this is just kind of his overview, right? Too many of us are working long hours with no results because we are ineffective with our time. So if we have a short amount of time, it's important that we're spending it in the right places and being effective with it, right? So we are used to trading time for money, and that makes sense when we go to our job, but it's the same thing right here. When we work our job, we get paid X amount of money for the amount of hours we work. In network marketing, the compensation plan rewards you based on your results, not your efforts. So that's why it is so important that you're spending time on the things that are actually going to produce you immediate results. Because if you don't produce results, then you're not getting paid. And I mean, let's face it, sometimes we're hesitant to talk about the money part of this because we just want to change lives and get people on Thrive. And that is awesome that we get to do that. But if you are on here, you clearly have goals for your business. And so you want to make sure that you're creating results so that you build a financial, so you build up to financial freedom. I mean, that's the goal, right? So tier 1 is the fire. So what he talked about is, you can do all the things, but unless you have a spark, you can pour all the gasoline on the ground that you want, right? You can spend a ton of time doing a whole bunch of things, but if you don't have a spark because you're doing the right things in tier 1, then it's not going to grow. It's not going to produce results. And so you've got to do what tier 1 is so that you're creating the flame so that all the other things that you add to it makes the flame grow, right? So tier 2 and tier 3 are absolutely important, but without tier 1, you're throwing gas on an empty flame. And you can't, if you don't have that initial spark, there's no way that you can start one of those massive fires and create that momentum. So let's look at tier 1. Talking to new people. Third-party validations, your own people that you're bringing in, and then you being the validator for your team. And then continuing to add to your lead list. So guys, can you grow your business if you are not talking to new people? I mean, it's not really possible, right? But what is the one thing that holds the majority of people back? Talking to new people, right? So you're getting out of your comfort zone, right? You're having to get on social media and build relationships. You're having to talk to people in the line at the grocery store. You're having to be intentional about the relationships that you're building at your kids' activities. Like, being a friend first takes the fear out of that, right? We talk about having a heart of service. When you're focused on their needs, you shouldn't be fearful. If you're focused on the right things, that fear, that anxiety should go away. So make sure that you're talking to new people. I will partner this with adding these people to your leads list, because if you're not keeping track of the people that you're talking to by writing those names down as you build those relationships, then you're not going to have a clue who to continue to follow up with and to continue to build that relationship with, who to search for on Facebook to make sure you're intentional about that time, right? So make sure as you talk to new people and you feel like they're open and you're building that relationship with them, that you're adding them to some list so you don't lose track of them, so that you're able to circle back around and be intentional with the time that you're spending. And that's going to make this thing go a whole lot faster. And then as you're doing that, you're going to have those people that are open to learning more, connected to something that's going to give them that third-party validation. So I know that we have all sorts of things. I mean, with Jen, she connected me to the website. She connected me to the Facebook fan page, which is super important, because that does a follow-up for you. Every time they open their newsfeed and they're scrolling, they're going to see that. So don't forget to do that. We used to push that way more than we do now, I feel like. But that is one of the keys, really, in plugging people in, getting them to like that fan page, because that's going to do follow-up for you. And you never know when they're going to be scrolling through, reading a story. You know, Amber Manquist, when she came up here for the local that we had a couple of weeks ago, she said, yeah, I was like, good for them, good for them, good for Kim, good for, good for Kara. Glad that's really working for her. And she just keeps scrolling. But then all of a sudden, she like read one and she was like, oh my gosh, that is my story. And she messaged Maria that night. So make sure that that is part of the validation that you're plugging them into. Like, most people are not going to be as good of a soldier as I was. Like, when Jen started putting me through this funnel, I was just like, okay, what next? What next? What next? Right? Most people are not going to be that easy. So you've got to make sure that you're dripping Thrive, right? You're sprinkling Thrive on people. And they don't even realize that you're doing it. And so making sure you're plugging them into those resources, and you don't have to do it all in one day. I think that that's one of the things that when we get somebody that says yes, we expect them to act like I acted. And we give them all the resources on the very first day. Like, hey, I'm going to add you to our customer page. Hey, I'm going to like this fan page. Hey, listen to this call. Hey, do all of these. I'm going to get you on a 3-way call with I would drip on people. You don't want to run them off. You don't want to overwhelm them. You don't want to scare them. But those tools and resources gives you an opportunity to delay 24 hours and say, hey, did you get to check that out? And follow up with something else when they start asking questions. So we have the customer page. We have 3-way messenger chats, guys. Those are so powerful. And, you can really tell the temperature of your business on how many people on your team are getting you on third-party validation chats or calls or those types of things. If nobody's calling you, if nobody's blowing your phone up, then you may need to have a conversation with those people that say they want to do this about this topic, because we got to be spending our time right here. Okay.
The other thing too, Lindy, like to also back up and validate what Lindy is saying, how many third-party validations are you bringing to your upline, or are you bringing to somebody, like Lindy sometimes does them for me. Like, if I'm talking to a teacher, I like want them to resonate with Lindy. And so it's like, you got to ask yourself too, that talking to new people in tier 1 should lead to you introducing that new person to a third-party validation. And just like Lindy's saying, you can tell the temperature of your team based on how many times you're validating somebody else, bringing them to you. You can tell the temperature of where you are in tier 1 on how many people you're bringing to somebody else to get validation. So you should be, those new people you're talking to should lead into your own third-party validations with somebody else validating to your new people. And that's all that tier 1 activity. All right.
Yeah.
I just had to validate what you were saying.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this does say, it doesn't just say be the validator for your team. It says your own people too. So make sure you're leading by example and you're getting those people, you're talking to new people and you're adding them to the lead list so that you have someone to bring to your upline to do third-party validation or a story that will relate to them. And if you don't have a team, the only way to get a team is to talk to new people, add them to your lead list, and do third-party validation. If you're not doing those 3 things, like nothing else matters. You're not going to grow your business if this is not what your focus is every single day. And I'll tell you that for every 1 minute you spend on tier 2 and tier 3, you're supposed to spend 4 minutes on tier 1. So we're going to get into that. But just think about that here in a second, because this is what is going to, this is the spark. This is the flame. This is what's going to create momentum for you as you begin to do sharpen the sword and dial all of these other things in. So tier 2, reaching out to team members, nurturing current leads and relationships. I mean, you can't do these things if you haven't done tier 1 consistently for a while, right? Because you won't have a team and you won't have leads to nurture and you won't be building a relationship with anybody. So you see how these tie together? Like, I have people that reach out to me all the time on my team. They may just be reaching out to talk, right? So that's not really productive activity. I mean, I love building relationships with them. I've got a family of people connected to me that came to me through this business. So I love talking to them. But guys, that's not tier 1 activity, right? That's not going to create the spark. It's definitely going to fan the flame to continue to build those relationships, but it's not going to be that you can't start a flame right there. You gotta be talking to new people and add them to your list. And nurturing current leads. So once you've added them to your lead list, this begins the follow-up process, right? That's tier 2. You're nurturing those leads. You're continuing to build relationships through Facebook, through, at your practice. How many of you sit at practices with your kids and you're on your phone, or instead of sitting out in the stands, you go sit in your car, and scroll or whatever. I'm guilty of it. That's how I know. Because it's easier not to be social sometimes, but I know those people need to be thriving. Their mom is just like me, watching their boys. And so make sure that you're talking to those new people so that you can continue to nurture those leads and build those relationships. So tier 3, this is where so many people get stuck, and I'm so guilty of it. Amber is too. I'll just speak for her because I know. Okay, so tier 3 is team trainings. I'm not saying that they're not important. They are. But this is why we don't team train every day of the week. This is why we don't go live on different topics every day of the week. We have a ton of stuff to plug into in Lavelle. There's so many great leaders that open up their trainings to us. There's Lavelle Live. There's impromptu calls with Paul. I mean, we got all the things to plug into. And so just think about it. You're going to spend 30 minutes here today. Where are you going to make up that time in tier 1 throughout the rest of the week? Think about it. Because if you spend 30 minutes right here on Sunday night, and that's all the team training that you do, then you owe yourself 120 minutes of tier 1 activity if you don't do any other team training all throughout the rest of the week, right? 1 minute in tier 2 and tier 3, you owe yourself 4 minutes in tier 1, okay? Personal development, I'm a personal development junkie, but I try to do that when I'm multitasking, right? When I'm working out and I can't really do a lot of other things with my hands, I'm listening, I'm doing my personal development. Then that way it's not a waste of time. It's productive activity, body and mind at the same time. But sometimes I can spend way too much time on this, and it's not producing me results. It's not starting a fire in my business. It might light a fire in my soul, but if I don't do anything with it, then it's really, what's the point? What's the point of being an awesome person if you don't do anything with it, right? And then studying anything relevant to your company. Like, I didn't spend any time studying anything. I don't know that much about our products. I'm not an ingredient junkie. I do listen to the calls and I do learn the basics, but I've been more a student of the business than student of our products or anything like that. I just don't ask a lot of questions. I believe Paul and Jason did their research. They're putting together great stuff. Just not paying attention to those kind of details. So, guys, this is production versus consumption. That's what this is about. You're consuming all the things, but if you consume all of this stuff and you don't take any action to produce, what is the point? What is the point of dialing in to team trainings, to Lavelle Live, to Paul's calls, to all of those things if you're not going to talk to people, add your lead list, and validate? Those things are the most important things. And if you can be an expert on every area of network marketing, and if you're not doing those activities in tier 1, you're going to be in the hamster wheel, spinning your wheels, not getting any traction, not growing a business. I mean, it makes so much, it seems so simple, right? When you sit here and look at it, and some of you may have already seen this training, but really, I was like, this is so true. And the 1 minute to 4 minute little ratio thing, I was like, dude, I really owe myself a lot of tier 1 time, because all these things are on my list of things to do, but what is my ratio? How am I balancing this out? And am I spending 80% of my time in tier 2 and tier 3? For sure, right? But what they say, it's the 80-20 rule, okay? 20% of the activities that you do are going to produce 80% of your results. And that's the same with the people that you bring into this business. 20% of those people that join you are going to produce 80% of your results. 80% of your team is going to be made up of those 20%ers, right? So let's look at these last facts. So are you tracking your activity? We've been a part, I know Amber has some ways to track. We've been a part of Rankmakers. He has a tracking form. I have one on my team, because we know that if you're not writing it down, if you're not tracking it, then you have no clue where you're spending your time. And I'll tell you the same thing. I really didn't have a clue. I felt like I was being productive, but it was in the wrong areas, because when my PPA is down, I've been spending too much time in tier 2 and tier 3 and not enough time in tier 1. And so, guys, if you want to be really intentional, if you only have an hour to spend, then you set a timer, and you can spend 48 minutes of that hour on tier 1, and then you go spend your 12 minutes on tier 2 and tier 3. Because that stuff comes easy. Those are the easy things to do, right? Those are simple. It shouldn't even take you 12 minutes to do some of that stuff, right? But if you really actually had an hour a day to work on your business, and you spent 48 of those minutes on tier 1, do you think your business would look different in 30 days? And in 60 days? And in 90 days? No doubt about it. Find somebody to hold you accountable, even if it's a text before bed. He says 96% more success happens when you have an accountability appointment. And I really love that he calls it an accountability appointment instead of, because it's just you checking in, you saying, okay, I did it. I kept track of it. Whatever your goal is for the day. Because I have an accountability partner, and I talk to her 100 times a day. But are we talking about the right things? Are we setting that appointment to actually talk about the accountability of our business? And then I thought this was really good. Put a sticky note everywhere that you work and say, is what I'm doing right now making me the most money? And I know people are like tiptoe around the money talk, but guys, we're in this business to have a business, and we want a business that's going to be successful and produce income for us, not just take up a whole bunch of time. And Amber, I know I'm going over, don't worry about it. Garrett's in there. But put that where you work. That way, if you look up and you see that and you're like watching videos on Facebook, you can be like, oh crap, This is not making me any money. And schedule in, write it down, guys. I don't know if you've ever really managed your time by like printing out a calendar that has 30-minute segments and filling it all in and trying to find it. I try really hard. I have a 30-minute calendar and I have a hard time sticking with it because I cheat on myself all the time. So, but try it, because if you're really intentional about, I mean, we all have the same amount of time in a day. It's just who is more intentional and serious about not letting themselves off the hook with the time that you do spend. And then, guys, I'd set a timer. It's pretty eye-opening, I will just say, when you really see how much time you're spending in tier 1, because it's probably not as much as you think. So take all out deliberate action. So, yeah, so does that resonate with any of you guys? Does that, bring you some value? Do you think that you're really good at the time that you spend in your business? Do you think that you're way heavy on tier 2, tier 3? I mean, I know I still am. I am a personal growth junkie. I love stuff like this. I will buy all the trainings too, not just products that people are recommending. I love growing. And so I do find that that's one of the things that if I really owed myself 4 minutes for every 1 minute that I spent watching a training, I'd probably be a really wealthy woman. Are those real glasses? Oh, wow. They're not. I need to get some fake glasses. You're muted.
Oh, those are her blue ones. Apparently, like, you're supposed to have special glasses for when you're looking at a screen. Those are Kara's new blue ones. So, yeah. Lady Boss glasses to block the blue screen. I know. It's so smart. I was like, I feel like I need some of those. I know. I feel like this is a topic that the reason that we're fear. It's fear. This is what I wrote down. I said, fear means that you aren't focused on them. Fear means that you're focused on yourself because you have some type of, agenda for it's a sale, and you're scared to reach out to them because you kind of know at the end of the day that your intentions of talking to them are not about them. They're about you. And you're scared somebody's going to feel that way and notice that. And guess what? You put that out there, that is what people are going to pick up on. Kara, you asked.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
One of the coaches that I paid for personal development, that's what the very first time that we talked, that was what she said to me. How can you, because we were talking about things that hold me back. And that was one of the things she said was, how can you be fearful if your heart is focused on service? How can you be anxious if your heart is focused on service? And, guys, if your heart is in the right place and you're more concerned about, filling their need than you are about, reaching your own personal goal, the goal will happen if you serve enough people. If you meet enough needs, those things are naturally going to come as a side effect of your heart being in the right place and focusing on service. And I think that Amber's the expert at this is not me, it's Carly, and Amber's going to have her on here to talk to you about this, guys, because, she went for the Auto Elite, like the day it was announced, and she has worked like heck because you've got to have 12 auto ship customers. They can't be new. They have to be a auto ship every single month. And you think that doesn't sound horrible. It sounds like a really tough task, honestly, because if it's less than $100 or if they pause it, you know what I'm saying? Or if they pause an auto ship and then place a new one, then it doesn't count because it's not a recurrent, right? It's a huge, and there have been months that she's been so stressed, she fell short. It's been so difficult. But when she started really focusing on showing her customers gratitude and serving them and building a real relationship with them, it's taken over a year, right? But on the 5th of this month, she had 10 of her own personal customer auto ships go through. And so she only needs 2 more the rest of the month. But she'll probably end this month with 20, 25. but I mean, she's an expert on it. I've got to have her because she is so good at taking care of her customers. So, I mean, I need to learn more from her too. She's so focused on service because it does pay off. And it took her a year to get to the point where she could have that many go through, but heart's got to be right. Sorry, this side note.
So something that I've been looking into, Kara, so I was watching a training the other day to answer your question on a lot of people are asking about reach outs and follow-ups. Like you can get a Google Calendar and you can actually track people that way, and it'll send a reminder to your phone, and you can schedule a reminder and it'll email you every single day. Like follow up with this person's starting their sample. And you can do that through Google Calendar. Another app, this is something that you have to pay for. So, I don't make any money off this, but another app that I've been seeing a lot lately that I've seen other network marketers talking about is called docrm.com. And I was just looking for it because it's not in the App Store. I actually had to Google it. But it says build and track your relationships in 15 minutes a day. And it is stay on track with those daily income producing activities and watch your business grow. So if that's something, it looks like it's $19 a month as a service to, but I mean, guys, that's one customer order. One customer order will pay for that investment. Like you have to start thinking, if you really want to run your business as a business, like things like that, like you cannot be scared to give yourself pay for tools if it's something you struggle with. Like if you're awesome at, pen and paper and appointments in your phone and free things like Google, don't pay for anything. But if there's areas that you're like, I need help in this area, don't ever be scared to invest in tools to run your business. One, it's a write-off. You can always write that stuff off. But that's another one that I've been seeing is doughcrm.com, DOUGH.CRM.com. I just looked at it tonight. I haven't purchased it. I cannot tell you guys anything about it, but I've just been seeing it referenced a lot. And so I was curious what it meant. But the biggest thing is, Kara, it's a write-off. Yeah, see, I'm always about the write-off, especially this time of year when I'm freaking doing my taxes. I'm like, I need some more write-offs. Kimberly Olson, she is somebody that I've been following. I've been following her training. She uses Google Calendar. And she showed how you can actually email yourself reminders. And she just emails herself a reminder every morning. So when she wakes up in the morning, she checks her email and she's already written herself a note on here's what you're doing today. Here's what you're following up with. So
yeah, if you do those things, I get that email at 5 a.m. every morning too on what's on my calendar. And so that way I can click that email and it just gives me a list of everything that I already have on my calendar. So if you're really intentional about what you put in your calendar and then that email won't be blank. Because I have woken up and thought, oh God, I know today's not free, but my email didn't have anything on it.
So, but it's really just about, getting a little bit more organized. I mean, I think all of us, I think when you're an entrepreneur, it's just naturally, Bill and I talk about this all the time because he loves Excel spreadsheets and he's so organized and he's so good at, and I'm so squirrel. Like I am so the dreamer, and you have to have kind of that yin and yang. Like I always hated busy work in school, hated it. Like I would much rather just read a book and have free time. Like why would you just give me a stupid worksheet that has no value, and to me sometimes, and follow-up has so much value, I mean, there's so much value in being organized in this area, and it is not my strong suit. Like I really look at it as busy work, and you have to change that mindset on that part too, and know that without this part, I mean, that could be a little bit of your tier one because your leads list. I mean, you got to treat that part of it as your business. I mean, that's your baby. That's the baby. I mean, if your business is going to grow, you've got to really be organized in that area. And so trust me, that's something I work on every single day. Ugh. Any other questions from anybody?
She says she needs a good email service to send out mass emails.
I mean, that's another thing that you might have to pay for to not get kicked out because, the thing, Constant Contact. I know that's one that Natasha uses. I think that's one that I think that's what Ray Higdon, some of those coaches they use Constant Contact. So again, those are, you know, sometimes as you get hundreds and 200 and 300, you know, free is only free for so long before they start, because they're trying to create value too. You know, they're creating value for you. And so they're, you know, especially when they have those rules against selling, you know, they want you, why should you get to sell your product if you're not going to pay them to be able, you know, like you, so Constant Contact, I've MailChimp. I know other people, Kara, I think you've got kicked out of MailChimp. And really the thing too is like, make sure that you're abiding by their rules and policies. You know, that was something that I've always just used their templates for sales and have sent it in batches. I've never had a problem, but again, I'm not consistent on emails.
You can always too, when you get more and more customers and more people to email, more free accounts, it gets a little bit more hairy, but you can also set up groups in your Gmail. So it's just like one click to that group, one click to the next group, you know, because they're all loaded into that group, you know, and you're not going to have problems with Gmail either if you're doing it that way. But it will take, any of these programs take time to set up and get them all loaded. But when I have used Gmail, just my regular Gmail account, and I've just loaded like when I've done promoters, level 1 or a certain team, and I label it, right? So then I know I'm sending it to Carly's team or to Erica's team or to Dina's team or, you know, whatever. So you can always do it like that. So you're adding 100 into one of those and you just click it. Once it's loaded, you know, then you just have to update it occasionally.
Yeah. Good stuff. Courtney, is GoDaddy free or are you paying for that? You can unmute if you want.
No, I pay for it.
You pay for it?
Yeah.
Like a monthly or yearly fee or something like that?
We bought a year at a time. I think it was it was like $130 for a year. So not bad. It's like $10 a month.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad at all. Cool. She was like, why did you put me on the spot? I was like, well, I saw your thing. I was like, I wanted to know. All right. Well, Lindy, thank you so much for hopping on with us. I always appreciate, I always love seeing your face, even though I talk to you almost every day. We don't necessarily FaceTime or Zoom every single day. So good to see you. Good to see all of you guys on this Sunday. What?
Sweet of you to invite me.
Oh, next week we've got Lynn Lear. Lynn Lear will be on with us next week. And then Jennifer Zant will be actually on the Monday before conference. So Easter Sunday, we won't do this, but I have Jennifer Zant lined up for the Monday. So we're going to go into conference strong. IPAs.
And that's 3 weeks from now.
3 weeks from now.
Right? 14, 21, 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to learn what Infinity is, and we're going to actually get to see it work. I have high hopes.
I do too. Well, I was like feeling scared for like Jason Camper. I mean, if y'all didn't listen to that call, you need to find the recording. But he was like, we might not cure cancer, but we'll get close to curing everything else. I was like, Jason, don't let Big Pharma hear that. You're going to have a hit on you. Like, make sure you're writing down these secrets, Jason, and putting them in a vault. Like if somebody's, you know, out to get him. Cause I was like, oh, we're going to cure everything but cancer. I was like, well, this should be an interesting conference. So if you haven't got your tickets to Guy-Palooza, you need to get them and get there.
Yeah, the fact that they're going to have like a place to show it, like work, that just brings a whole new, I don't think Jason would do it if you couldn't see the results immediately.
I know. I'm excited.
Not for vendor event type things.
Vendor events will definitely come into play. I mean, he said like within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Guy-Palooza, it's gonna be lit, like all the kids say these days.
So guys, I actually really will be 39 on Wednesday. I'm not just saying that. That's like the real age. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Some people say I'm 39 again. This is just my very first time to be 39 on Wednesday. So when this light helps the wrinkles.
I think your skin looks great.
It's because of the light. That's what's selfie lights do for you. They make it where there's no shadow for your wrinkles.
I know, it's like your cheeks, everything looks like all Botoxed and like nice.
There's no work done here. It's all natural.
Well, those vitamins you take must be really good.
I thrive.
So, all right. Well, thank y'all so much for hopping on. We'll see y'all again on another training. Let's go hang out in tier 1 all week. All week, tier 1 activity. Talk to new people.
Your training is done for the week. Check that sucker off.
You've already hung out in tier 3 long enough this week. Let's go hang out in tier 1.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Y'all have a good night.
Bye, guys.